Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. It is now 6:03 p.m., and this is a special City Commission meeting and public hearing for the final city budget fiscal year 2024-2025. This meeting is now called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item.
Roll call, item 2. Mayor Eric Diaz-Padrón.
Here.
Vice Mayor Natalie Emiliano Orbis.
Here.
Commissioner Juan Blanes will be present in a few minutes. Commissioner Ivan Chavez Jr.
Here.
Commissioner Luciano Suarez. Mayor, you have quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to make a few adjustments to the agenda. Item N, which is a request for proclamation, if we can put that behind item F, please.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
And I'd like to take G and H, I want to take G and H out of order, and let's place that as the first item.
Okay, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, next item.
Item 3, public comments, and we have Herminia Garcia.
Okay. Name and address to the record, please, Herminia.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners,
Wait,
and the
I
City
apologize.
Manager.
The name and address for the record, because we have to, the name and address. Your name and your address.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay,
do.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
My name is Herminia Garcia, and I live at 6337 Southwest 10th Street, West Miami, Florida, for 51 years. I'm very concerned with all the increases reflecting on the budget 2024 and 2025. While increases are necessary, we are concerned of many of the expenses that are out of control. For example, 40 new employees for a city that only has 3/4 of a square mile. Another example is special events that taxpayers have to pay for that. Another example, the trees that they planted in the city, even with the grant, we have to pay for them. And yet there was no pruning of our older trees during this time of the year. The city needs more policemen to security our properties and our lives in this beautiful and peaceful city. I am retired for 22 years and live on a tight budget, as many as 50% of our people that live here for so many years. Please consider this part of our population when you have in mind expensive things. Thanks for this opportunity. God bless America.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
No more speakers, Mr. Mayor. No more speakers.
Anyone else for public comments?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, next item, please.
So next item will be like item 4, special agenda items, and we go to item 4G and H, which is GS request for mitigation of liens for code violations at the property located at 6417 Southwest 10th Terrace, West Miami, Florida 33144, and Christian Dominguez and Cristina Gonzalez.
Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, my name is Christian Dominguez, and the address we're here representing ourselves today for is 6417 Southwest 10th Terrace.
If we could, if we can get some context on this case, and then we'll allow you to speak on it.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission, Mr. and Mrs. Dominguez. This is a summary of a long time code compliance case at 6417 Southwest 10th Terrace. The residents in front of you bought the house with these liens. They were not the ones that created any of the violations. The violations stem from parking vehicles on the grass, which grew to $119,000, disposing of excessive trash and debris, which is $118,000, removing ducts from the property, removing all trash and debris, There was apparently a washing machine and stove in the front, removed wrecked inoperable vehicle, and a rooster signing, which is disturbing the peace and tranquility. There was two other ones where there was some alleged interior renovations, and it all ended up being around $349,000. The house is cleared of all these violations. There are no violations outstanding. There was a inspection performed in June when the house was sold, and the violations were cleared at that time. I've had conversations with the commission. I've had conversations with the residents. And I think I would like to hear from them so that you all can hear from them that they are going to be, this is going to be their homestead at home, and I think it would behoove us to listen to them for now.
So you guys are here, intended to be primary residents, and you guys are representing yourselves?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct. Thank you, Mr. Silva, for your recommendation. We respectfully request the commission's permission to provide additional context regarding these liens.
Go ahead.
Awesome. Christina and I discovered these liens during the initial title search of the property. Upon learning of their existence, we sought to understand the surroundings of their accumulations. China Estrada from Code Enforcement has been a huge help with us, and she informed us that a lien search and a reoccupancy inspection would be necessary to obtain detailed information. On June 26th, as Edward mentioned, the city conducted a reoccupant inspection, and that confirmed that the property did not have any code or zoning violations or open permits at that time. Upon closer examination of previous liens we observed that there was a range of offenses, many of which appeared to have occurred over time due to negligence by previous owners. For example, a lien 1911-010, which stated stop parking your vehicle on the grass, has an astonishing amount of $119,000. After obtaining the reoccupancy agreement, our number one priority was to make sure that we got these cleared out some way, somehow. We reached out to China Estrada to inquire about the steps necessary to clear these liens. She confirmed that all liens have been cleared years ago and that the only remaining issue was to mitigate their amounts. Following that information, Christina and I spent a considerable amount of time reviewing past committee meetings like the one here today. Over 5 years of meetings, to be exact. We examined countless mitigation meetings where the commission suggested or settled numerous six-figure liens. We observed a consistent pattern of the committee and staff members being resolution-oriented, particularly towards owners who are committed to becoming members of this community rather than a corporate entity. We attempted to negotiate these with the seller to resolve these liens, but we unfortunately were presented with the ultimatum of either inheriting them or foregoing the purchase. Despite this challenge, we decided to proceed with the purchase. We are deeply in love with this home, its layout. Me and Christina are lifelong residents. We couldn't imagine a better place to raise our family. This property is our primary home. It will be our homestead home. Home ownership has been a long-held dream for both me and Christina. We both have been diligently saving for this opportunity for a very long time. Just as I diligently reached out to the city and the staff members for information prior to closing and to attending this meeting. We anticipate to collaborate with the city and in updating this property, obtaining proper permits, renovating the property within our budget. Our goal is to transform this property into our forever home and become active members of this community and contribute to its ongoing development. We understand the importance of these processes in fulfilling the city's obligation to maintain this municipality. We respectfully ask the committee to consider a mitigated amount of $5,000 for these liens. We appreciate this opportunity to share this information with you here all tonight, and we open up for any questions that you may have.
Sure. It sounds, from the base of it, that we mostly had a person problem, not a property problem for the most part, right? It was an individual, whether it be owner or tenant or whatever, that was doing a lot of stuff they shouldn't have been doing, parking cars, having roosters, things that are very annoying to the neighborhood. let's get some context from the manager in terms of recommendation. And for the record, Commissioner Blanes has joined us. Let's get some context from the manager in terms of recommendation, and then we'll kick it back to the board for questions.
Well, this is a code case that started in 2017, and it's finally come in front of the commission. Unfortunately, some of the records from prior are not exactly the best in the world. We don't have any pictures. We have no documentation as to what the alleged renovations were. What we do know is that we did do an inspection in June, and it passed, and it said everything was perfectly fine in terms of the Florida Building Code. We've had a series of conversations in the last few days, and in consideration of it being his homesteaded home and the fact that they need that money for renovations of what they want to do, we've, and in some conversations that I've had with the commission, we started a number at $20,000. We moved that down to 15. They're proffering back 5. And we're here for the will of the commission, somewhere between 5 and 15. We, from the administration point of view, would be good with it, in consideration that this really wasn't something that they created. It was a previous owners, and it has nothing to do with them other than the fact that they want to live in West Miami, and we welcome to West Miami, and that they want to be good stewards of the house and renovate the house.
Okay, to the commission, to the board. Any questions for,
Comment.
go ahead.
For the last 7 years, the residents that live around this house have obviously had a quality of life that has been diminished. You guys, when you were purchasing the property, were given the ultimatum if you didn't pay for this or if you didn't take this on yourself, that you wouldn't be able to buy the property. From what it sounds like, you want to use this money to beautify your home and therefore beautifying the neighborhood and improving the quality of life of the residents that have been, for the last 7 years, dealing with these issues. So for me personally, being that you guys aren't the ones to blame for this, we can't obviously get rid of all the money that you guys owe, or not you guys, but the property owes, because compliance is the number one issue with this. You guys have complied, the home is already rid of all the code violations, but I do agree that $5,000 for me is a good number. They aren't the ones to blame. They want to use the money to beautify their home and the neighborhood. So if they're okay with $5,000, I'm okay with $5,000.
Motion to the board? Go ahead,
I
Vice
just
Mayor.
wanted to ask, what year did you get to purchase the property?
September 3rd.
This year?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
This was our-
Congratulations.
thank you. We're excited. This was our number one priority. We literally closed 3 weeks ago, and we wanted to make sure to be in front of you all.
I'm okay with the 5,000.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I can't vote on this, but do have a question.
Well, no,
Right,
I mean, you're allowed to vote on it. Yep, go ahead.
Are you going to live in the house?
Yes, we are.
Both of you?
Correct.
You
It will
both
be
are
our
married?
homestead property. We are,
And
We're
you guys are
engaged.
going to start a family there? And
absolutely.
A little
Wonderful.
personal.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You guys are a very nice couple.
Thank you.
Welcome to West Miami. This is a great place to live.
We're excited to be here.
Great.
Let's get through this item. So, any other questions from the board? Questions, concerns, motions?
I'll motion to accept the $5,000.
Okay, hold on. Read the resolution. How many, if the amount is 5,000, how many days do you need to pay it?
30?
30, perfect. Read the resolution with the amounts, and then we'll have the motion from Vice Mayor.
Yes, item 11H, resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of $5,000 from Christian Dominguez and Cristina Gonzalez on code enforcement liens for code violations at the property located at 6417 Southwest 10 Terrace, West Miami, Florida, providing that if payment in full is not paid in 30 days, then the amount owed shall revert to the original lien amount, providing for an effective date. We have a motion by Vice Mayor Emiliano Orbis.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
I don't think I can vote. Mr. Attorney? I came in late and this
I mean, you were
item-
here during,
During discussion.
you were here during the discussion, so.
I just want to make sure that, for the record, I came late and this item was already being discussed, so I missed some of the discussion. Can I still vote?
You heard most of the discussion, right?
Yeah,
And to the-
well,
to the
the gist of it.
presenters' object to his voting?
No.
No, right. You don't object to his voting. You can vote.
Okay.
Cast your vote.
Commissioner Blanes, you vote?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Welcome
Thank
to
you,
the city.
everyone. Appreciate it.
Next item, please.
Yes, we go back to the original order of the
Yes.
agenda? Yes. Item 4A, this is a second reading and a public hearing. An ordinance of the mayor and the city commission of the city of West Miami relating to solicitation of business or sales on private property, enacting the Private Property Peace Act for the purpose of preserving the tranquility and privacy of residents, prohibiting any person, firm, corporation, or other legal entity to engage in solicitation on private residential property within the municipal limits between the hours of 7 p.m. and 8 a.m., providing for enforcement, providing an effective date. This item is sponsored by Vice Mayor Milian Orbis.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. So we heard this on first reading, and I appreciate that everybody voted unanimously that time, so I appreciate your support to get this forward. We hear from residents ever so often that the tranquility can be disturbed by solicitation that is unwarranted. So this basically, we already have an ordinance that exists around the solicitation rules, and what this does is it limits the hours that you can solicit in the private properties in the city. So, with that, I ask for your support on this item. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for the Vice Mayor or for administration on this item? Seeing none, Vice Mayor, do you want to make a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, sorry,
this
it's a
is a
public hearing.
public
It's-
hearing.
I'm sorry, I'm tired today. Public hearing is now open on this item. Anyone who wishes to speak on public hearing on this item? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Back to the board. Now, does anyone have any questions for the Vice Mayor or for the board?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second by Commissioner Suarez. Call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Chavez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item B, second reading and public hearing. An ordinance of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami, Florida, rescinding the city's solid waste franchise ordinance 2011-04, sections 8-41 through 8-45 of Article 2 of Chapter 8, providing definitions and methodology in collection, revising fees for commercial and multifamily residential solid waste collections franchisees, providing for an exemption for tax-exempt organizations from paying a fee to franchisees that allows the franchisee to recoup the cost of their franchise fee payable to the city, revising fees for commercial and multifamily residential solid waste collection franchisees, providing for a dumpster registration fee paid by the franchisee for commercial and multifamily residential solid waste collection activities, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
I didn't quite get that. Can you go back? This is a public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Anyone who wishes to speak on public hearing on this item? Public hearing is now closed. Does anyone have any questions for administration on this item that they have not previously discussed or want to discuss anew?
I understand the items. The resolution was allowed to chew on.
Can we get a,
I'll make a
The
motion.
ordinance.
all right, there we go. We have a motion on the ordinance.
Second.
We have a second. Looks like we're all tired today. It's not me.
No, I have a question.
Okay,
for-
I got your question. Go ahead.
Just very simple question. This is for the commercial.
Commissioner, yes, this is for commercial franchisees. This is just basically revising a very old ordinance and bringing it up to speed and up to date and putting in new clauses into it, but it's for commercial entities only, not residential.
This is participate. They should participate in this. Yeah, I make a motion.
Okay. We have a motion. We have a second. Call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Blanes, how
Yes.
do you vote? Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item C, this is a second reading and a public hearing. An ordinance of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami, Florida, relating to zoning, amending Appendix A of the fee schedule of the Code of Ordinances relating to park impact fees, providing for commercial park impact fees for new developments, providing for ordinances in conflict, codification, severability, and an effective date. This item is sponsored by administration.
All right, the public hearing for this item is now open. Anyone who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Back to the board. Does anyone have any questions for administration on this item?
This is for the, I have a question.
Go ahead.
This is for the, in the future for the new development, right?
Commissioner, this is in the future for new developments that's greater than not for single-family residence. It says for
Yes, commercial, yeah.
multi-tenants,
Yeah,
and this is setting up a park impact fee so that they can
the
pay
future,
their,
the
the
future,
future
the future
development.
commercial development.
That's
I
correct.
make a motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item D, second reading and a public hearing. An ordinance of the City of West Miami, Florida, amending Chapter 20 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Traffic and Motor Vehicles by creating Article 4 entitled Speed Detection Systems for Enforcement of School Zone Speed Limits, providing for the use of traffic infraction detectors in accordance with state law, providing codification, severability, conflicts, and an effective date, sponsored by administration.
It's a public hearing. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wish to speak on public hearing on this item? Public
Mr.
hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor, if I could mention,
Does it have to be a
This-
public hearing or?
well, in the public
All right.
hearing, the state statute,
No problem.
with any ordinance.
Public hearing
rather than public
is
hearing,
is now open on this item. Go ahead.
it wants, it says that the city should have some evidence of the need, and the police chief has evidence of the need, which will be put in the record and maintained pursuant to the state statute.
Go ahead, Chief.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. I will now hand over the evidence that I have for both these. It's this traffic study as well as the state statute to the city clerk.
All right. Public hearing is now closed. Back to the board.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Commissioner Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item E, second reading and public hearing. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Miami, Florida, amending Chapter 15, Article 3, Section 15.52, clarifying the means and methods regarding owner/tenant deposits for water utility payments and fines and process to close /disconnect water services, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date, sponsored by administration.
It's a public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Anyone who wishes to speak on public hearing on this item? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Back to the board. Any questions for administration on this item?
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item F, second reading and public hearing, an ordinance of the City of West Miami, Florida relating to art in public places, establishing the city's Art in Public Places program, providing for guidelines, criteria, and establishment of fees for the program's funding, providing for ordinances in conflict, codification, severability, and an effective date, sponsored by administration.
This item is a public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Anyone wish to speak on public hearing on this item? Public hearing is now closed. Back to the board. Questions for administration on this item?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Next item, item N, please.
You asked me to call for item 4N after
Yes, please.
the public hearings. Yes, item 4N, request for proclamation recognizing Nancy and Jose Joe Perdomo for their decades of dedicated service to Nicholas Children's Hospital. This item is sponsored by Commissioner Blanes.
Does anyone have an issue with this proclamation? I saw the article.
I think,
So go
I
ahead.
think Commissioner Chavez knows Joe, met him at his master's program.
Yeah, so I was getting my master's in disaster management. I was in the field course exercise, and I'm speaking to this older gentleman, very sharp. You can tell that he's really been around the block a time or two. And it turns out that he was around the block literally because he was at Nicholas Children's for the last 40-something years. And I asked him what he was doing there, and he said that, you know, you always have to continue to try to learn. And this is an older gentleman. I don't want to throw his age out there, but he's been 40-something years already as a hospital administrator, and now he's getting a disaster management master's. And I think that was something that I took with me. It's inspirational, and I'm going to keep trying to apply that in my life too.
Yeah, between him and his wife have a combined number, 86 years of combined service to the community at Jack Nicholas Hospital. So he was there, you know, from
I have a question.
almost from the onset.
They has been working there for over 30 years, right?
Oh, yeah, he's been there for a very long time.
The couple, the husband and the...
And let me tell you, he's got a heck of a sense of humor, because I was talking to him one day when I first met him. I knew that he worked there at the hospital, but I didn't know what he did. So I asked him, Joe, what do you do there? He goes, oh, I'm in sanitation. So, you know, so then I inquired with someone else that works there, and he goes, oh, no, he's a big shot there. You know, so I was thinking to myself, he must be the head of the sanitation department or something.
Both are physicians, or he or her.
I'm sorry?
Both are doctors.
Well, she is a pediatric nurse, and she's been working there and serving there for that long.
But I know
I
they-
believe she started working there when she was 21,
They has,
right out of nursing
they has
school.
been working for over 30 years there.
Yeah.
They're very, very popular there. They're very nice. I
Yeah.
know.
Do
I
you know
that.
them?
I don't know them personally, but
Wait a
I
minute.
know about
You don't
it.
know
When I
them?
read the article,
thought
I
you knew
know, I
everybody.
have friends
Well,
who
you'll know them
them.
soon. You'll know them soon. Make the motion.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any against? Hearing none, item passes. Next item, please.
Yes, we go now to the submission of the budget. This is a public hearing, a final budget for fiscal year 2024-2025 submittal. Item I is a submission of final city budget for fiscal year 2024-2025 by city manager.
They want to do this.
Good evening again, Mayor and Commission and residents. Let me go through a very brief presentation. A lot of these slides, you've seen them in the past, but we're just putting them up just to be consistent. As you all know, we've had quite a few meetings. This is the last meeting where we will approve the final budget, hopefully. We've had meetings in August and 2 in September. Some relevant information, we've had this discussion before. Our property valuation increased by 8.2%, which is good news, but the bad news is it's the lowest increase in all of Miami-Dade County. Our proposed budget tonight is for a 5.92 millage rate, and that's 30% lower than the high point in 2006 of 8.495. Based on our current taxable valuations, that's a savings of over $540 for each resident at the medium tax rate. Our organizational chart is here, which shows that obviously residents are first, commission, the charter officers, and then all the other departments. We are projecting 109 employees, which is 2 more than the last 2 or 3 years. And that is because we're adding, as you all know, and we've talked about this in the September 10th meeting, we are adding 2 police officers to our roster this year. Again, how are your taxes divided? The taxes are divided by 37% go to the county, 31% of your tax dollar goes to the public school board, 28% for the city of West Miami. On a medium taxable value of $204,000, your overall tax payment is a little bit over $4,200, of which $1,200 is what comes to the city of West Miami. Some of the proposed general fund information, here's our projected revenues. Our projected revenues are we're proposing $10,699,958. Here's the projected expenditures by department and the percentages. We are projecting expenditures of $10,593,408, which leaves us a little cushion of $106,550. That is less than what we said on September the 10th because we used some of that money so that we don't have to do as big of an increase in sanitation and in water and sewer. And then there's the breakdowns by percentages. As you can see, the biggest percentage of tax revenues is going to general government, followed very closely behind by public safety. This is the Parks and Recreation Fund. As you all know, our 5.92 is 4.92 goes to general, 1 mil goes to the parks. We project revenues of $1,796,000, of which we're showing a projected expenditure, including the community center, of $1,707,693, leaving us a surplus of $89,000 in the Parks Fund. As you all know, last year we moved the community center under Parks, as they both seem to coincide with one another. Inclusive of the parks, our total revenue is revenue stream is $12,496,000, and our surtax is also part of is also here, where we show a projected revenue of $503,000, expenditures of $470,000, leaving a little bit of a $32,000 surplus in surtax. Moving on to some of the enterprise fee-based funds, we're showing our water and sewer, which does include an increase for senior homesteaded homes of a little bit over 4%, and an increase of around 15 to 16%, 16% to a regular single-family home. That allows us to balance the water and sewer fund, and leaves actually a little bit of a surplus that will take us into the next year. The same story with sewer 1 and sewer 2. In stormwater, the same story. We're showing a revenue stream of close to $200,000, and our expenditures are right at $200,000. Sanitation, again, with a increase of the annual fund from $350 to $380 for seniors. It helps us with the single houses as well, which is going up $8 a month, and that is allowing us to break even and actually leave a little bit of a surplus in the sanitation department for any unforeseen circumstances. In fact, today we have one of those unforeseen circumstances. We've got an email notice to us from Miami-Dade County where they're increasing our fees 4% for leaving our trash at the recycling center. Community development is looking nice. It's going to balance out this year, and that shows our overall budget breakdown. And if you look at it, our overall total expenditures for the year, including our capital projects, which are mostly grant funded, of $28 million. The revenues and expenditures comparison, by looking at all the general funds, as I said, we are booking $106,000 in the general as a surplus, but overall the surplus throughout all of our different categories should be a little bit over $400,000. And with that, we have our, as you all know, we have our proposed public works projects. Our biggest two items there is the continuation of the water line replacement, which is an EPA-funded grant, and also a state grant that we have gotten thanks to this mayor and this commission, and also using the ARPA money to be able to build our multi-generational center, which is progressing nicely. And this is the 5-year outlook that we're looking at it, and the overall amount. And with that, again, to reiterate some of our priorities for the upcoming budget is to complete the rec center, and do the dog park. We've already relaunched our access channel, which was off the air for 5 years, complete storm drainage projects, fix our comprehensive and zoning codes, complete our water projects, add police officers, which with your approval of tonight's budget, we will have added 2 more in addition to the 1 that we added last year. We are fixing enterprise funds, which haven't been looked at since 2009 and 2011, although every single one of those years in between then and now, Miami-Dade County has been raising their fees to us, which is an issue that has caused us to be very out of balance in those fees. We're adding, luckily tonight, we've added an art in public places, and we've done our speed zones for schools, and we're also proposing, trying to work with FDOT to expand our tree canopy up and down the 8th Street corridor. Some of the recaps from the changes from 9/10, we've changed insurance carriers for general liability and workman's comp, which provided us a substantial amount of savings. We negotiated a lower rate for our health insurance plan, but we kept the same policy. They worked with us in lowering their costs to us. We moved some expenditures around by adding another employee and taking them out of from the general and putting them into the Parks and Rec. We've also eliminated 1 vacant position, so we dropped it from 110 to 109 from September the 10th to today. We've increased projected revenues on parks by adding the fee that we estimate we'll be getting for the mini pitch soccer field usage, and we've lowered some of the fee increases that we were anticipating in the enterprise funds. So our final millage rate proposal is 5.92. The rollback should have been 5.5530, but we're showing a 7.34 decrease from this current year in terms of the millage rate. And with that, I thank you, and I'm here to answer any and all questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the manager? Or you want to take public hearing first? Let's take public hearing first.
Yes, item J is public hearing on final city budgets for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Public hearing is now open. Anyone who wishes to speak on public hearing in this item, please come forward now. Do we have anyone for public hearing?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone wish to speak? Public hearing is now closed. Back to the board. Any questions for the manager or comments? Go ahead.
Just comment, and kind of going to say a little bit about what I said last time too. We hear a lot about what the residents' wants and needs are in this community. We are residents ourselves. We've been here living and raising families ourselves. So this budget affects us, and I feel that this budget is going to affect us in a million positive ways. Increased green spaces, increased public safety with the new officers. Again, this is a well-rounded budget. As a resident myself, and understanding that I'm raising a family here, I'm excited for what this budget is going to bring to this city, and right now, and also moving into the future with all the amenities that are coming. I think you did a great job.
Anyone else, questions or comments for the manager? Go ahead. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I just wanted to make a comment. I wanted to thank the administration for going back and reviewing the budget and finding a way to achieve some reduction for the fees on the residents, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions?
Great job,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Manager.
So I'll hit some points. The budget is obviously the most encumbering thing that the city does all year. So I want to give thanks to manager, but also to everybody, the finance director, everybody who had a role in creating the actual budget document, so I appreciate that. I think we tackled some really important things. I think last year's budget was transformational, and every year forward, we have to make sure that we keep those things going and add and attract things that we, as things come due. So this year, for example, the dog park initiatives, those are something that the residents have been asking for a long time. So I'm very happy that's moving forward. Addressing the fees, I personally, I'm thankful that the manager was able to find some creative ways to mitigate things, especially for the most vulnerable in our community. Actually, to be frank, we've been violating code for a long time on the fees because the code does read that those enterprise funds cannot be unbalanced, and we've been doing that for a long time. So I've been comfortable with that mostly because of the administration's willingness to meet my vision on always finding the most efficient way and lowering taxes wherever possible. And that's the balance that a government always has to have. Pay what's due and always find efficiencies and always look to lower taxes every single year. So I'm very happy that we are trying to go back into that vision and continue on with that vision of the last two cycles. So with that, I'm hopeful that we are able to accomplish the capital projects that's in this budget in short order, and I know that we are on track with the ones that we've started in the last budget. So the residents are very excited about those projects finishing, and they're getting ready to reap the benefits of them. So with that, I want to thank everyone again, and I'm supportive. Next item, please.
Item K, resolution of the City of West Miami, Florida, establishing the 2024 final millage rates upon all real and personal property within the city limits for the payment of the amount appropriated in the 2024-2025 final budget.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Next item, please.
Item L, resolution of the City of West Miami, Florida, adopting the 2024-2025 final budget.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item M, resolution of the City of West Miami, Florida, adopting the final Water Enterprise Fund budget for the year 2024-2025 in the sum of $1,909,456.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Next item.
Item 5, consent agenda items, none. Item 6, good of the order.
Anyone for good of the order?
On September 28th, there's a parade at Nicholas. I think PD was in it last year. It's North Miami Beach PD runs it for the Mystic Force Foundation for childhood cancer. So anyone that wants to join, it's going to be at 10 a.m. at Nicholas Children's, Saturday.
Anyone else for good of the order? Go ahead, Manager.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I do have 3 little brief comments.
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to congratulate our police department again, and I said this in the 10th, but I'll say it again for the residents. We've had an overall crime drop of 10% for the city, which I think is an outstanding testament to the police services that we have here. I also want to remind everybody that the Salsa Under the Stars event, which was postponed, has now been rescheduled for Friday, November the 8th. We're also bringing for the first time a murder mystery dinner to our community on Friday, October the 18th. And I ask you, everybody, to please go to the website or look at our new apps for any and all reporting so we can continue to do all our tree trimmings and sidewalk cleanings as required and as demanded by our residents. And the last thing I want to say is to our passport department. We had a audit from the State Department, and it was an outstanding response from the State Department. They had absolutely nothing that they questioned or no guidance that needed to be provided to our passport agency. And on top of that, they usually have an 8% 8% of all passports that are sent in is the national average of things that they have to ask more questions of. We were less than 1%, which was an outstanding thing. The guy was extremely pleased with our passport department.
Kudos to Caria Costa. And let's make sure to congratulate her on that. The last thing I have, obviously, we're tracking the hurricane that's going to make landfall, and most likely in the Panhandle. Tomorrow we have expected rain and wind. Everyone plan accordingly. I know that I talked to the manager about making sure the city is ready. As we continue on through hurricane season, to make sure that we are continue to be proactive on tree trimming and drain cleaning to make sure that we mitigate any future disaster. With that, do we have a? Go ahead.
Just to add to that, since there was no invocation tonight, for everyone to just keep in their thoughts the responders going out to the hurricane, including one of our residents, my brother, is heading up there. So just keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
Thank you, Commissioner. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.